Okay, a very good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Shakti from Janet 3. I welcome you all on today's yet another live session, which is having a new caption right now. That is Aham Arogyam. That is keeping yourself healthy. And today we have with us a very special guest who is Mrs. Ria Nair, ma'am. A very warm welcome, ma'am, to this
Thank you
platform, Janet
so much.
3.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much,
ma'am.
Dr. Shakti, to have for having me here. It's a pleasure. It's a huge pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a pleasure from our side as well. So, let me tell our viewers something about you that Mrs. Ria Nair is a clinical dietitian and nutritionist with a demonstrated history of working in the health, wellness, and fitness industry since 21 years. She is skilled in planning personalized diets for diabetics, nutrition in healthy heart management, weight management, PCOD in women, nutrition in fertility, child nutrition, thyroid, and many such. She is also expert in counseling patients and clients in a highly successful manner, and the care and the regular follow up of each and every client is one of her biggest forte. She is also a life member of the Indian Dietetic Association since last 20 years. So this is something very, very encouraging, ma'am, having such an expert like you with us today. So let's get
Thank
started
you
with our topic,
so much.
ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. All
Yes.
right.
So as we are talking about good health, as we were discussing about the pandemic or any
Yeah,
such kind of natural calamity that happens, now people have started becoming very aware that they should inculcate some good habits in their life, starting from working out, starting from having good eating habits, sleeping, waking up, going for a walk, everything. So why do you think, ma'am, this good healthy habit is very much essential for people? I mean, why people should get aware of it, what percentage of people should follow, and how they can inculcate those things in their life.
all right. So, a very interesting question. In fact, basically focusing on the pandemic, what we had for a year, and now is still continuing. So, yes, healthy habits are of utmost importance for every one of us, each one of us, right from children, toddler to child to adult, and following a very healthy pattern of living, disciplined lifestyle. Discipline is not just for our work. We all know that success comes from discipline, and success not just in work but in health. So we need to be, each one of us need to be aware that healthy habits form what we are, our body, our system, our health, basically. If we need good health, it's very important to inculcate that healthy habits in us. And any health, any habit, to form any habit, it takes 21 days, roughly 21 days. That's a basic thumb rule. Now, if we develop that kind of a practice in our system, if we are not used to the healthy lifestyle, and healthy lifestyle, I just not mean by nutrition. I also mean by sleeping pattern, our sleep habits, our wake up cycle, our emotional interaction, our social interaction, everything together, our physical activity, majorly, as in combination with our all these things matters a lot. So healthy habits are a very essential part to form a healthy us from within and outside. So yes,
Right.
it's quite important. And during the pandemic, we had the whole opportunity to stay at home, be working from home. Everything was sedentary. But then that was a crucial time when we needed to understand that if life is sedentary, if life has brought us to such a stage, then we need to, face the challenge by being more healthy, more active, eating right. Not
Right.
just because we are at home, we need to just cater to anything and everything what we have. And just form the habits as you were before. Just don't stop the cycle. That's what I kept telling all my clients, that don't stop the cycle what you have been. Just because we are on a sabbatical, pandemic sabbatical, that doesn't mean that you're off your system will work the same way. So we can't give that kind of a rest to our system. We need to be active, regularly active, and keep our body and our entire system active.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
that's, yeah.
Right, right. That's really true, ma'am. That because of these things, when we are at home, we usually take that for granted. That okay, we are at home, so we have a lot of things around. We can do this, we can eat that, these, and everything. So when we come to a special category of people like corporate people, right?
Right,
Now we have
right.
a hybrid culture. Some of them are going to office, some of them are at home, and it's just a mixture of all these things. So do you think for them also a special kind of diet and nutrition should be, scheduled, or should be programmized, should be customized for the corporate people? Because a lot of things is happening, fulfilling the targets, doing all those meetings virtually, going to office. So
Yes.
what's your say about it?
Well, definitely, corporate wellness is a very crucial part, in the health industry, and we need to target that. Of course, there has to be plans for corporate people, especially because they are, subjected to a lot of pressure, as we all know.
Yeah,
Corporates are subjected to a lot of pressure, meetings, deadlines, in and out, phone calls, client calls. What happens is this gives a the entire physical, not just physical, mental. So there
yes,
are problems like cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, thyroid, PCOD for women. Then, of course, anxiety issues, GI issues, gastrointestinal disorders, everything that comes up with this corporate kind of lifestyle. So what we need to do is, usually when I speak to the corporates, what I tell them is plan a good schedule for yourself and never starve. In such a stressful ambience, we generally corporates tend to ignore their bodies, ignore their food, ignore their physical activity because they are, short of time, I would say. So in the corporate sector, there are a lot of challenges, but one has to keep pace with that somehow and manage with their lifestyle. It's a very healthy system. I'm not saying it will happen overnight. You have to
yeah,
just develop, has to develop it. Unless and until you don't, you're exposed to all these kind of issues. As I said, all the issues, medical conditions, the hormonal imbalance, fluctuations, everything. So yes, one has to resort and maintain a proper healthy lifestyle to the system.
okay, okay, nice, nice, ma'am. So as you mentioned that, yes, definitely, because they are juggling between so many activities, the corporate people, so usually they don't get that, enough time. They
Yeah.
sometimes skip their breakfast, or they have a small amount of lunch or everything. So uh, why do you think they lack that knowledge of having a good diet and nutrition in their meal or in an everyday basis? What are the things that are lacking? I mean, is there any kind of lack of knowledge or awareness, or what are the things that they should know about having a good diet in their daily activities?
Okay. So coming to this, the lack of knowledge is one of the reasons. But to be honest, these days there's no lack. It's lack of will, I would say, because
Right.
most of them are all educated, affluent. We know everything. We read on the internet, we read in articles, we hear it on. So we all have the knowledge. See, everyone has it, but it's just that to put it in the system, which is very important. So when I talk to them, I always say it's all the mental. It starts here and then ends up to your in your body, your system. So just
Yes.
make sure that uh, you actually have willpower and determination to do. See, if you're, for example, I'm just quoting an example. If, instance, you're doing it for your company, okay, you're working 9 to 5 or 9 to probably 8, 12. You're working 12 to 14 hours a day. So the corporates, which they always juggle with that, and you compromise on your health. You're giving everything to your company, but you're compromising on your health one side, on the other side. And what happens? It takes a toll on your health. You are under a medical challenge. You always, it's a well-known fact that you're predisposed to conditions like cardiac arrest, stroke, high hypertension. This is a very common fact. Why? Because stress is ruling them. The corporates are ruled by stress, and stress levels can only be combated by a proper lifestyle, which also includes your eating on time, your sleep quality, good quality sleep. you know we can't just say that, okay, we are working day. we hear that normally, that we are busy in our lives, we don't have time. That's also fashion now. That's a fashion now. So of course, on a serious level, there is stress, but one needs to make sure that you have to inculcate that good habits in your system. Good habits, I mean eating pattern and your exercise, and not following a sedentary lifestyle, basically. No matter how much you're eating well, on one side, if you're not having that kind of activity around you, you're not going around. Even if you have a desk job for like 10 to 12 hours, you need to be moving every 30 minutes. I keep telling everyone, just take a stroll around, move about, and because the more you sit, the more you are predisposed to problems. The more you are actually subjecting your body to a lot of issues. So it all starts with that. And counseling corporates in wellness programs in India as well as Africa. So I've always stressed on the fact that you need to somehow do it. It's all in the mind. We can't say that, okay, Abhi, for example, now New Year's coming up in 8 days time, and like some of them, they are like, okay, this will be my New Year resolution, that first onwards I'll start. But no, there's no first, there's no second. What I say is just start right away. That's the time. This is a time, because your body will not wait for you. Yeah, days can wait, date can wait, but your own system won't wait for you. So we need to start off where we are. If we need that kind of system, good one, good habits, we need to form it right away. There's no excuse, no shortcuts to good health.
That's right. That's right. No shortcut. I think whoever is watching us should keep that in mind, that there is no shortcut for a good health. You have to practice, you have to start working on it, right? So, as you mentioned, ma'am, about starting a good healthy habit, they should start right away. So, there should be some kind of reminder, or there should be some kind of a protocol that they can follow up. So, in your personal opinion, when you've come across such clients, how do you say that do this at this time or follow this at this time? Should that, should there be any kind of a right timing, that okay, once they wake up in the morning, that they have to take a glass of milk, or when they go to office they have to carry the snacks and everything? So do you think there should be a timing or a scheduler that should be there in a person's life to follow a good health?
Oh yes, definitely. I always specify this factor called time. I always specify, because unless you value the time that you have, and unless you collaborate that time with your lifestyle, you won't get the results. We really won't get the results, because every corporate has a challenging life, and they need to make sure that morning, say, the thing what starts in the morning, they need to plan out. They need to plan out their wake up time, their breakfast, their office schedule, and lunch timings, eating timings, whatever meals they have, small meals and whatever. Everything has to be as per time. Of course, there are days when you go here and there, it always deviates as per your schedule. Like you have conferences, you have meetings, you won't get the time to eat, but you need to make sure that you're putting in something in your body, whether it is a small thing, even if it's a nuts, even if it's seeds, normal roasted chana or curd, dahi, you know, you need to always make sure that you're not starving. Starvation leads to another serious issues, like acidity, bloating is another problem. you know so you need to make sure that your system is functioning well. No constipation, no acidity, things like that. One of a kind, one of the days, these are all possible with everyone, with all of us, each of us. But on a larger basis, on a larger perspective, no. We need to make sure that we are on track, and that will only happen when we do our things on time, when we eat on time, sleep on time, get 8 hours minimum, 6 to 8 hours of productive sleep, quality sleep. When I talk about sleep, I'm not just saying that wake up in the morning and you said you slept. But most of the corporates have this stressful life, and they are always on the deadlines, things on their head. So that is not going to work. You need to switch off your gadgets 1 hour before sleep, at least an hour before sleep. You need to just shut off. All I say is just shut off from that world, come into your basic world, and very very simple, keep it simple, keep it natural. Follow some techniques like yoga. Yoga is anyways, any which way, is very beneficial, we all know about it. Practice some meditation. If you're not into the practice, learn it. 5-10 minutes each day or more will help. These all things adds on to your health. So it's very important, even if you're having some good food out there, but you're not following these things, you can, go off track. Your health can go off track. So it's important.
Right, man. So that's rightly said that it involves a lot of other things as well, as you mentioned, along with diet and nutrition. So I think the word called holistic approach should be, this is the word that should define the meaning or introduction of all the things together inside a small boundary where, yeah, it should be inculcated with for everyone. Everyone should follow that. And we are talking about time management is one of the best thing that they can do, and prioritizing your health is also very important, right?
Yes, very true.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes. Yeah. So next, ma'am, will be coming, as we are talking about the timing, the good practices, and everything. What should be the amount of calories that they should put in? I mean, people that, okay, 250 grams of this or 500 grams of this, two plates of chana or dal or anything. They have a lot of things on a nutshell. Ki acha ye karna chahiye. But what exactly should be the calories in terms of proteins or carbohydrates or fats that we are taking in? That should be, there in everyday meal, as per your opinion.
Okay. All right. So coming to this, the calorie requirements, generally a male has a requirement of 2,500 calories on a general basis, an average adult male, and a female requires at least 2,000 calories per day. So this is as per the average Indian kind of, an average male or female. But of course, when there are conditions where you're very malnourished, you need to increase your calorie intake, and when you're very overweight or obese, you need to reduce it. So even if you reduce it, like if you're obese or you're overweight, you need to reduce like a 500 cal from your diet. So if a male is like he requires 2.5, but he is overweight or obese, so he needs to come down, cut down on the calories. Okay. And coming to proteins, basically 60-65% of your entire meal should come from your carbohydrates, which we actually don't stress on. We actually underlook the thing these days. It's a no carb thing and all that, which is come in the fad. But yeah, 65% of your meal, your nutrition should come from carbohydrates, and the remaining 35%, 30% from proteins, and the rest of them from your vegetable group, the protective group, vegetables, fruits, fats. So what I generally tell my clients is not to be too calorie specific. Okay, that's our job to take care of the calorie need. But yes, I specify the portion size. Like if for example, for an Indian meal, you have a medium katori of dal, you know, you have a little bit of rice, you have a little bit of dahi or chas with it, salads, accompaniments, all these things, and sabzi, of course. So it comes to a balanced diet, a proper meal in your plate, which gives you all the nutrition required. And if you're a non-vegetarian, of course, add on to your chicken, fish, all these things, eggs. Of course, no red meat. No, not at all. I always tell them to stay away from it because it again predisposes the body to many conditions. So yeah, these are the calorie requirements in general, but it also depends on how much you have to lose, and that's how we do the portion control and the calorie control. Because when we control the portions, the serving sizes, what we eat, calorie is automatically reduced. And the amount of food that we add in our plate, if it's more of vegetables, salads, more of that, your calorie intake for the day would automatically reduce. But as you asked me, on an average, we all require this much. A male, roughly 2,500 calories, and a female, 2,000 calories for a very healthy, strong body to function. You know, this is a requirement technically.
Okay, ma'am, that's nice. On an average, we got information about what should be the approximately this kind of calorie should be taken. So what is your opinion if about pregnant women? And
Yeah.
in case of corporate people, as we are talking about the corporate workstation as well, in case of, obviously we know that some extra calories required for a expecting mother when she is pregnant and she has a child inside her. So what should be that extra calorie approximately, that I think everyone should know about it. And regarding corporate people, when they don't have much time with them, then how can they compensate with those calories?
Coming to pregnancy now, see, we all know as a new being is growing inside the woman. So we need to actually take in a little bit extra, a little bit extra in each meal. I would say a little bit calories in each meal. Add on to it, and over the during the day, entire day, you add on a little bit of maybe 500 calories extra to your diet. But that, of course, should come from whole grains and good cereals, good pulses, and everything. You see, we can add on the calories, but you need to check from where the calories are coming, from what sources are we getting it from the good sources. So for pregnant women, of course, there are special diets which I always plan out, and sorry, keeping in mind the calories and the daily requirement, the nutrient requirements. That's how we plan it. So that's how we make the changes for the pregnant lady because of the fetus growing in, for the new birth, new life growing in. And coming to corporates, you need to always make sure that you have your required calories for the day. Everything that comes from your proteins, carbs, fats, a little bit of fats, a little bit of vegetables and fruits also adds on to the calories. So make sure you keeping it balanced, you're keeping it moderate. There's no need to overdo. What I you generally say is there's no need to overdo anything. There's no need to underdo. Keep a balance, keep a moderate kind of eating pattern. If you overdo, it's going to go overboard and you're going to face problems. If you underdo, also you're going to face problems. So just keep the right balance. That's very important.
Right, ma'am. So that was the thing that which is needed for a pregnant lady and for corporate people, because along with those diet also they should take care of other aspects, as we are talking about the workouts, the things they should maintain in their life, like proper sleep and everything, because time is limited. We have to bring that time for ourselves so that we can find that me time where we can inculcate all these things in our life to have a good healthy living, right? So next, ma'am, I'll be asking you about what should be an ideal diet in case of breakfast, lunch,
Hmm.
sometimes evening snacks, and in dinner. What should be the ideal meal? I mean, that can be defined by you, an ideal meal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming to the ideal meal, it should be a very good breakfast. One thing I want to specify here is to every corporate who's watching it or every person who's working generally, never skip your breakfast. It's the main important meal for the day, the major fuel for the day. So never skip your breakfast. Whatever it is, just put on a little inside and then walk off from home. You know, uh, very very important to keep your body fueled after 8 hours, 8 9 hours of sleep, rest time. Why do we call it breakfast? Because we are breaking the fast, and it's very important. People say that okay, it's okay. People don't bother because there are time constraints, and some people can't eat early in the morning. That's of course another case altogether because you can't eat, but at least eat something, something little like nuts, as I said, or eat a boiled egg. Or an ideal breakfast would be oats, with some fruits. Also, your Indian breakfast, including poha, a very lightly made poha, less oil, upma, your parathas, which could be a combination of vegetables as well, so that you're not loaded with too much of butter or ghee. Little bit of ghee is fine, or a mix of vegetables and a mix of carbs. That's your wheat and your vegetables. So that reduces the glycemic index also, and you're able to take on your full day's activity well. So breakfast is a very important meal of the day. Never miss it. Yeah. Coming back to these things can be incorporated in your breakfast. Dosas, idlis, something very light and which is good for the tummy also, which is fermented and which will not give you problems. And then coming back to your mid morning, something put into your system during in the break between your lunch and your breakfast. So if you're feeling acidic or something like that, you must always resort to eating something. If you have a system, a body which is acidic, you should never skip your meals. In fact, you should be feeding in something like a coolant, some maybe it could be a buttermilk, chas, or could be a coconut water, freshly made juice, something like that, you know, or add on some, even a whole fruit will do, you know. So don't keep your system or your stomach empty for long. Then coming back to your lunch, you can always have your rice or your rotis, your sabzi, your dal, a little bit of everything. Or if you can't carry such things, you can always have a roll, a paratha roll, or a little bit of rice, khichdi, something like that. And if you these days corporates have an option of healthy eating from the office, the health counter. So they can always resort to salads, some salads, some vegetables, some rice and dal, or rotis and sabzi, something like that. Very basic meal. But make sure you're having a lot of salads during the lunch, so that you're not sleepy. Now, again, coming to this, I would like to specify one thing. Usually, we have this habit of sleeping after lunch. So, what we need to do is just keep it light. Don't go high on carbs. The more you fill your stomach, the more heavy meal you have, the more insulin is released. I mean, glucose is released, and it is synthesized. And along with that, the sleep hormones are also released. They get activated, and that induces a sleepiness. So we need to make sure that the corporate, especially, they need to have a very light meal. Keep it light and high on proteins always. It should be a diet rich in proteins and your salads. It's very important. And then coming to your evening snacks, you can always opt for healthy options instead of reaching out to oily stuff, pakoras, vada pav, sandwich, and this and heavily loaded with butter. Sandwiches like that. Grilled sandwich is fine without butter and stuff, but normal, you could have your morning snacks also during this time. You could have your dosa idli at this time. You could have a chila at this time. You could have a fruit or nuts or probably makhanas, something like that. It's always good to have those healthy options rather than reaching out to those which are not really good for our health and which will induce problems. Then coming to dinner, you can keep it light. Dinner has to be, as we all know, dinner has to be light, and keep it light by having some soups or salads, homemade soup salad. And maybe if you're at work, as we are talking of corporates, you can always, they get late to reach home. So you can always resort to something like a normal chicken, grilled chicken, fish, if you get it handy, or else your normal dal, chawal, roti, sabzi is fine. It's fine. And everything, just make sure that everything is kept light, and you don't overstuff yourself. It's like if you're having a good heavy meal at lunch, make sure that your dinner is very light. So you need not feel that. One thing I want to specify here is eating with consciousness, eating with mindfulness. Very important. What happens with the corporates is, okay, full day, I have not eaten, so I need to now just eat whatever I get, and I need to compensate for what I've not done. No, but that's not the case. You tend to put on a lot of weight. You tend to actually increase your blood sugar. You tend to increase your cholesterol lipid profile because of these issues in the night. Also, coming to certain things when it comes to corporates, I always specify that alcohol, just stay away from alcohol, or if you have to please be low on it. There are times when you can't avoid, of course all corporates know this. You can't avoid binging on alcohol, but make sure that you're in very much moderation. And they have this client meetings and conferences where you can't avoid it. It's a part of their lifestyle. So you have to keep it, just make sure that if you're having a certain amount of alcohol, don't have too much of carbs with it. Then you stick on to proteins with alcohol. Yeah, just a little bit of starter, salads, and the portion what you're having, a wine or whatever. So that's very important. These things are the challenges what any corporate faces, right? So it's very important.
Right, right, ma'am. So absolutely, because see the small things that you added was really mind opening, because we as general people usually, a specific specialized person can only talk about those things, like you said about all those things that we should avoid, those carbs, the alcohol, and everything. So definitely people should, take into account that what exactly they should do and how they can improve their productivity at office when they're working, by having a good meal as well, because if they are mentally light, physically light, they can focus more on their work, right?
True.
Yeah, absolutely.
And stepping the whole organization, they are
Yes.
healthy staff with them, and their organization grows. You don't have much sick people around, much sick staff, with you. So it all matters. Nutritional aspect is a very important aspect, because anywhere where we are, not just corporates, even like us, even teachers, even anywhere where we are working, what we require is nutrition. Basically, food is a fuel for the body, and nutrition. If there's no proper nutrition, your body is going to be subjected to an array of conditions. and we can't help it. We just once we cross that time, we can't help it. Then we have to live with the drugs. We have ailments and sickness. Yeah. So yeah,
Yes, absolutely, because it's better to take care of your body earlier than, coming across all those complications in future in your old age. And definitely that is a proof of, as you mentioned about all those meals and everything, that have your breakfast like a king, and slowly reduce your amount of intake, slow that it will.
yeah, that's a age, and it's very, very correct. It's very true. It holds true. It's just not a saying, but it holds true.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So as we are talking about those people who are working at office and in general also, we, children or middle-aged young people or something, they have a love towards all these fast foods. So, how to avoid all this binge eating. I know it's as we can have some trick or cheat days some days in between, in a week, so that we can at least have 1 or 2 times of all these crunchy foods and everything. But on a nutshell, how to have those kind of, any kind of nuts, as you mentioned, any kind of those healthy things that can be, put that into the plate instead of having all those chips and carbohydrates and fatty things. How to avoid that?
Basically, coming to junk food, very be it children or be it teenagers or adults, we are all prone to that. So, just to make sure that you're not binge eating, you could actually make sure that you're having small, frequent meals. Every 2 hours. Then there are things which you can do. A little things goes a long way. As they say, you should not watch your TV or your mobile phone, your gadgets, your laptop. Just stay away from it while you're eating, so that you don't binge eat. Then also mindful eating, chewing your food well, very important, and eating very slowly so that the food, whatever you're eating, gets digested. So when you chew your food, your actual food, you don't feel hungry for long, you know, and then you don't binge eat. You don't binge eat because you're chewing you're mindful. You've already eaten your food very well. What happens is when we are in a hurry and food doesn't get digested, after a while, maybe probably after 1 hour, if you have noticed, children and even us, we reach out to things. We reach out to all this processed food, chips kha liya, Lays hai, ye hai, kurkure, whatever comes into our hand. Because our mind is, this is all a brain functioning, the leptin increases, the ghrelin, the hunger stimulating hormone, that increases. And when it increases, you reach out to things. And then you grab anything what is in front of you, you know so what we need to do is, ideally for children, we need to have options, healthy options. Like if they are used to eating, they're not used to eating too much of food, proper nutritious food. You need to introduce something at home itself rather than buying it from out, ordering it ready-made stuff. For example, your burgers. Make a healthy burger at home, add some carrots, good beans, cauliflower, potatoes, and make a good patty at home. Give them with their bun, they're happy. Add some sauces for taste. Also introduce some peanuts, roasted chanas as a filler. Fillers are very important. Small fillers during the day are very important. That keeps you healthy, strong, and nutritious. And then you don't reach out to your junk stuff. So it's very important. Also introduce fruits, in your daily meals, whether it's children or us adults. Fruits has to be a part. At least minimum 2 or 3 servings of fruits. Even if it's not gone up to three, at least 2 servings of fruits a day is very important. All these little, see, basically this, what I tell everyone is, we don't have to make major changes, just make little changes, and that will lead to a big, good change in your life, in your body system. So that is what matters. We can't do things overnight, like, no, I've got, and no need to go for reach for high end stuff. I always tell everyone, no need. Your simple things can add on to good health for you, bring that glow back to your face, give you good hair, everything, whatever you want. Just don't deprive yourself and give yourself a sunken look, a haggard look. That's not going to work. Because if you're on a diet, if you're on crash diet or something like that, that's really not going to go for long. As we all know, that won't take you for long. It's just temporary. Just in your process and your platter, nothing else. So that's what I always say.
That's really nice. That's really mindful eating that you said about, that is really very essential, because the way you eat, the way you chew your food, the way you're swallowing, you are able to know that, okay, this is the amount of food I'm taking, and above something beyond that or extra, that should be avoided, right? And that's a very good thing, ma'am, you said about, creating your own crunchy and fast food made at home. This is something of work for the mothers, because usually the children go for all this, yeah, for burgers and everything. So even if it's a little bit of more work for the mothers in the kitchen, but they can create such kind of yummy foods at home. Yeah.
So that is eating, you feel satisfied. I make homemade pizzas for my children. Of course, once in a while I treat them. Probably once in 2 months or something, they want the ready-made. Any child is that way, no matter how much good you make it at home. But yeah, try to do it as a habit so that they also know that, okay, uh, I have this perk after 2 months or so, mom will give me this after 2 months or 3 months, but meanwhile, whatever you have at home, access to that, try and alter your way of making for kids. Very important to keep it colorful, interesting for kids, like how they want it outside. The same time, you can always learn and make it. These days you have YouTube, everything is on that. There are a lot of options to see and make. Even if you're so it's fine. We can always do things.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So it's never, yeah, it's never bad to experiment on foods, right? Making it colorful, making it tasty, yummy. Yes, for
Taste.
children.
Homemade spices. Everything can be possible. It's just that we find it. We tend to generally, especially when you're working. Of course, I understand working mothers the whole day. It gets difficult. But try as much as possible to keep it very simple for kids also, because very important, the building up years. We can't load them with junk. It's highly futile for them, highly hazardous, I would say. Also avoid the soft drinks, the canned juices, all these things. See, I'm not saying completely off it, because they see their peers, they want to eat and drink what they do. But make it a practice that it can't be happening always. You can get it later, occasionally as a perk. That's fine. That's fine, because nobody can be devoid of anything for long, right? Deprived for long. So yeah, balance it out.
Yes, balance it out. Absolutely, absolutely. So, yes. So next, we will be coming to, as mentioned, some people. It's a question that some people uh, ask me, or they have a question that we are eating a lot of things. I have a carbohydrate rich, fat rich, protein rich food, everything. Still, why don't I look, that healthy, that plumpy? Many women, they say that I'm very skinny, I'm not gaining that weight. That is a very question, and it's a very recent questions I'm having. A lot of people are coming up with this question, that why they are not gaining weight instead of having a lot of things inside their meal. Still, then, what is your say, ma'am? That what is the thing that they're lacking in their meal?
In such a scenario, what happens is it's basically the BMR, okay, and your way your body is, your prakriti, we say, right? The natural system of your body. As we say, each body is different. So we say, like, for example, we say that, okay, she's eating so much, but still she's like that. How come slim and trim? It's a very, very general example, right? We always see that. She claims she's a foodie, but she's skinny. I mean, it doesn't look where it's gone. It's not seen on her body. So this is basically technically the BMR. Okay, when BMR is higher, when your BMR is higher, you tend to actually, uh, be slim. Your calories burn faster. You're slim, and you're able to, even if you eat a lot, you're able to burn it faster, digest it faster, as compared to if your BMR is low. And that again depends on your age, your gender, your physical activity. Very important. आप जितने sedentary रहोगे, no matter how much you eat, I mean, you follow healthy lifestyle of eating pattern, you're eating right, but you're sedentary, you won't lose. I mean, you will be the same. You will tend to put on, and that will show on your body. And some people, as you said, you say that I'm eating everything right, but there must be something which is, and that's the basic thing, is the major thing is the BMR, the basal metabolic rate of the body, the amount of calories it burns. So every BMR, every body is different with a different BMR. It can be corrected, it can be increased with your, as I said again, uh, as I said earlier, the entire system, holistic lifestyle up under laoge, so your BMR will automatically increase. You can always keep that BMR high even at 40, 50, You can always do that. And of course, genetically, if your body, your genes are such that you've always been on the leaner side, it always tends to happen the same way. No matter how much you eat, you won't put on, we have heard, right? In my family there are a lot of obese, so I'm obese, so I'm overweight, and my family has a lot of lean people, so I'm like this. My general basic structure is like this because I have a lineage of people who are slimmer, so that makes a huge amount of difference. These are
Right, right.
and your
Yes,
own
yes.
you, as we said, disciplinize our body, our system into a proper way of eating.
Right, right. Yes. So this is something which is interesting and everyone should follow, how to do. And people usually say that they actually don't know, how to start or what exactly, because experts like you only can enlighten us with all those things like BMI and everything. So how they should take care of that. What should be the ideal BMI of a body?
See, basically there is no ideal itself. 25, somewhere 25 is a basic ideal BMI, if you say, because over that you're going like overboard, overweight, and your BMI goes higher. So somewhere around 18 to 25 is like quite okay for everyone in general.
Okay, 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 ma'am. That's good. That's good. So, as we are talking about, those binge eatings and everything, how they can be compensated with all those things. So, one thing we know that after eating, we feel a lot of sleepy. We feel like sleeping and everything. So, it becomes quite difficult for all those people to work on the second half of the day. They say that the productivity gets decreased. We are not able to focus on their work, concentration, and everything. So, how to avoid that post lunch laziness? What extra things that you mentioned somewhere about the protein rich things, less in carbohydrates and everything you mentioned. So can you just elaborate on this, that on the second half of the day or in the evening snacks, what extra they can put in so that they feel light and energetic?
Okay, to avoid the laziness, right? Basically, sleepiness, sluggishness. Yeah. Well, what we can do is we can always eat lighter meals, even if you are keeping it light at work. Especially, I'm talking about work. At home, you can be still eating a heavy lunch, but at work, keep it a little light. More of proteins, as I mentioned earlier. More of salads, salad based in your plate. Less of rice, less of too much of starchy rice. You can include your sabzi, dal, protein. I mean to say paneer for vegetarians, tofu, your quinoa, and for non-vegetarians, you can include your chicken, fish, rice, this thing, egg whites, probably not too much of egg yolks. That again is a problem. Yeah, and then to avoid the sluggishness, you can always go for a walk. Make sure that you're not sleeping or you're not in a resting state always on your chair. To get that kick, the spark of just eliminating that sleep which comes to you immediately after eating, go for a walk. Then hydrate yourself. Hydration is very important. Drink a lot of water. It's very important throughout the day so that you're not feeling sluggish. Water activates your the cells in your body and you get energized. If you have noticed, this happens to us. So keep yourself hydrated. Go for walks. Don't just be lying down. Talk to people. Very important. Once you engage in talking, your sluggishness will automatically go off. That sleep mood and or watch something probably. Very important to keep the mind busy. Food is one side, as I told you earlier, food is one side. We take care of food, but still we are in that sleepy mode. That has to be avoided with such kind of small activities, some little activities which will let go of your sluggishness after meals. Very important, because at work you can't afford to be lazy or sleepy, right? You again have to go back to your after your lunch, you get to wake up and go kickstart. So yeah, these things are very important. These go a long way. This make a difference. Surely make a difference.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, going for a walk, connecting and communicating with your peers and the colleagues, that is very important because you start, diverting your mind that, okay, I'm feeling lazy or don't want to work anymore. So, you can at least divert your mind and have some light foods, protein rich foods along with that. Go for a walk or at least stand up, go away from the area where you're working, go around you, just to
Yes, yes.
Just go
Involve
around it.
around. Around is very important. That's a first basic thumb rule. We need to make sure that we are not just sitting or lying down immediately after a meal. That's very important. Just go around, take a stroll like for 15-20 minutes, talk to people, your colleagues around, and mingle. Then come back and you'll see the difference. Then have some water. These things are very, very, underlooked, but these are very important.
Yes,
These
water intake.
very important.
Water intake is one of the most, many people, 3 to 4 liters of water is required every day and everything. This is something which is actually unnoticed. It remains unnoticed.
Yeah, a minimum of 10 to 12 glasses are also enough. But yeah, 1.2 to 3 2 liters, 1.5 to 2 liters is a basic. So you can always do that. Whatever it is, keep a bottle on your desk. Don't don't be at your desk all the time. As I said, every 1 hour of sitting, you walk every like 30 minutes. Sorry, 5 to 10 minutes probably. Just how you can't walk for 30. Probably every 1 hour of sitting, you walk for 5 to 10 minutes, and then come back to your desk. That really makes a enormous amount of difference. You can get rid of your belly fat. You can get rid of your all this problems of cholesterol increasing, diabetes spiking, blood sugar spiking up in your system. Very important. So you can avoid all these problems on a
Yes,
larger level.
on a larger level. Okay, now when we are talking about water, one of the most important questions I get that, okay, I had a glass of juice, I had a bowl of soup. So, do you think that these fluid intakes also, replenish or take that position of a normal intake of water? Or having that amount of water is the essential things? And what about the other, forms of, fluid that we take usually in forms of soups or juices or anything that goes into our body?
The latter one, which you said, just taking fluids, water as simple normal water, very important. Very important to keep. Don't mix up fluids. Yes, this is a very common question asked by my clients to me also. That should we include those fluids also in our water intake? No, not at all. Not at all. Just keep water as water. That should be primarily water, and consume that as I said, 1.5 to 2 liters, and then keep your fluids. Those are separate. Those can't be mixed with plain simple drinking water. So that fluids apart, you have to have your share of water, your requirement of water for the day. Yeah, probably you can have it at room temperature or warm, and never have chilled water. That's a very important thing. Again, that's a crucial thing. Avoid chilled and fridge water.
That's good. Normal water, normal plain water is the best form.
Or even lukewarm is okay, but don't resort to refrigerated water or chilled. It's quite harmful for your system.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So another thing that is said, ma'am, one of the best timing, to have a proper sleep. Those people who are having problem in, you're having sleeplessness, insomnia, they're having, indigestion problem, GERD, gastrointestinal reflux disease. So this is a specific disease which I have heard from many people. Digestion problems and everything. What is your say about what should be the proper diet along with that, and the intake of water as well? Because they say that I had a meal just 1 hour back before I went to sleep and everything in the night, and mostly they have that problem during the night only. So what should be the timing? It should be 1 hour or 2 hours just before you go to bed. And that protein rich food, what should be that rich in?
Minimum of 2 hours before you sleep. A gap of 2 to 3 hours between your dinner time and your bedtime is very essential. And people with these issues, of course, I have had clients with these patients with these issues. So just I ask them to keep it very light. Have some throughout the day. Have some khichdi, no curd rice. Include prebiotics and probiotics in your meals. Very important. Like your dahi ho gaya, bananas ho gaya, oats ho gaya. All these things adds on to your system, your GI system, your gut. Your gut has to be clean, and you make sure that you're not constipated. Very important to clear off your motions every day. It's very important because that again predisposes a body to these issues. So when you know, for that, probably you treat it with your laxatives, like natural laxatives like xylem husk, isabgol we say. And I don't suggest people to resort to chlormaphin and all that stuff for long, because again it is a drug. So how long can you resort to that? So increase your fiber intake in your daily diet. Increase your fiber intake. Increase your water intake. Increase coolants in your diet. Cool foods like, for example, your uh, bottle gourd, ash gourd, white pumpkin. All these things. Cucumbers. These all give coolants to your system and make your gut very soothing and clear. Your entire gut system should be soothing. Avoid a lot of spicy food, oily food, fried food, salty food. These things are markers, and you need to avoid these kind of foods when you have this kind of condition. So make sure you're following a very, very simple, plain form of diet. And then probably you can, when you're off with your condition, you can also enjoy your meals. Otherwise, proper meals, what you like. But otherwise, be low on rich gravies, spices, salty food, heavy, heavy starchy food, processed food. These things has to be curbed down. So what happens is when you keep it very light, for example, you have your moong dal khichdi, you don't have too much of chole, rajma and stuff, high, heavy pulses. Keep it low, keep it very basic and minimal. This keeps your GERD or gastrointestinal, all these disorders in check at bay.
Okay, okay, ma'am. So, what about the timing? What should be the ideal before you go to sleep? We know that okay, you can have around 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning. You can have the breakfast, then you can have the lunch and the dinner. But that dinner part has been taken into it's why that is that important that we should have 1 hour or 2 hours before the sleep to have a good sleep for easy digestion. What should
Yeah.
be the actual should be the duration that it should be 2 hours before or 1 hour before and how they can take that.
Well, I tell my clients and everyone to keep a gap of minimum 2 to 3 hours. See, if you're having your dinner, ideally a dinner should be hello, yeah, you're just like
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
so ideally between 7 and 8. Earlier times, how it was like we used to have it before sunset, right? That was the ideal way actually. Our forefathers, our old age people used to follow it. That was a very beautiful. That's a very beautiful system of following. You finish your close your dinner before sunset, and your system is working well. Your digestion is happening properly. But now, of course, with all this kind of lifestyle that we are living, uh, but make sure that somehow I need to specify this. Actually, stress on this topic a lot. A very good question. What you asked me. 7 to 8 is a very ideal time, perfect time. And if even if you're at work and you won't be able to finish it or reach on time at home and then have your dinner at late 10, 11, that won't suit your system. That will again create more issues. So if you have an option of eating out at your canteen, cafeteria, eat something light there, finish it off and come. And then probably before sleeping, before sleeping, you could have a glass of milk, something like a little bit of fruit, light fruit. Okay. Just to make sure that you're not feeling very hungry then towards night. So you can always incorporate this to get good sleep. You can have add a little nutmeg to your milk, or have cinnamon boiled water, tea, and you get a good sleep. And very important to keep at least ideal time between dinner and bedtime is 3 hours. A very ideal time, which doesn't happen often, but or also apne 2 hours bhi rakh liya, though it's fine. Even if you keep a gap of 2 hours, it's fine. But make sure you that's a very big challenge these days because we are all predisposed, including our kids, right? Our children, everybody. We are naturally addicted. So, but make sure that ek time rakho and between before 1 hour before sleep, you shut down all your gadgets. You get good sleep automatically, and it has to be a habit developed in like a period of time. As I told you earlier during our conversation when it just started, it can't be developed overnight. So we need to make sure that each day take small baby steps, but make sure that you do it every day. So that one day you're like mastered in this and you're following a good way of pattern.
Yes, yes, those baby steps. So it is that is what is more important that continue and continue with the good habits. Start and continue.
Exactly. Yeah. Maintain it. Try maintaining it. You can never go wrong when you're maintaining such good habits in your life. You can never go wrong with your health, your everything, all together. Mentally also, physically also. So bring about a holistic change in your lifestyle, and gradually you will yourself notice the difference. Of course, we can treat. I tell each one of my client that you can always treat yourself. Make it like a treat. Once a month, you do it 29 days. 28 days or 29 days, 30 days, and one day that month you can just treat yourself. But of course, not just go overboard the entire day. Yeah, but one meal a day, one something nice, whatever you like. Don't deprive yourself. If you like sweets, have sweet on. It's necessary. It's that's essential. Otherwise, even we go little haywire. That we can't do this, we can't eat this. That's also not very good. So keep it low, minimal, and moderate.
Absolutely, absolutely, ma'am. That was really nice, and I think all those small, small things, as you mentioned, that we don't need to have a big change in our life to, inculcate all those good habits. Only those little, little things which are already present, and we have to prioritize those things, to have a healthy living.
True.
Yes.
Or think we have to look anywhere. Just look into your and our body signals ourselves. We get the signal from our system itself. So if we are sick, we get the signal. If we are not feeling okay, so accordingly adapt. And you know what is good for your. We know what is good for our body best, right? Who knows more than us? So each one of us just form a healthy pattern of living. Healthy lifestyle, holistic lifestyle.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, one last questions. I think we will be coming to the end of our show. So, some myths and facts about nutrition that you usually come across and that people should know.
Okay. Right. So the myth is don't eat too much. Okay, don't eat less and you will lose weight or whatever. Yeah? The fact is you need to eat. Only if you eat you lose. Okay, the more you eat the more you burn. Of course, as I said, in a mentioned frame of structure of eating, not being overboard also. Second myth is probably you don't exercise. Eat. I eat well, I eat on time, I eat little, but I don't need to exercise. Wrong. You need to, even if you're eating less, you need to exercise. That has to be go hand in hand. Both will go. 60% is the nutrition what you get, and 40% is your physical activity. If you just say that I can eat and I can still lose weight, I can burn calories, no, it's not going to work like that. At some point of time, your body will put on start to deposit fats, and it is going to happen that way technically. Okay. Then there's another myth that I will yeah, there's a very common thing. I just need these days. I just need those superfoods. I'll cling on to those superfoods. I'm having those superfoods, so I'll be super healthy. No, not at all. Myth. It's a myth. The fact is, you can also be very healthy with your basic, simple meals at home. There's no need to reach out for high-end stuff here and there. I'm on this, I'm on that. There's no need for that. There's no need. You know, yeah, no matter how much you feel attracted to those foods in the supermarkets and everything, but how long, how long you can also derive your nutrition from basic means also. So this is a very important thing which, as you know, I don't know if you must be reading it too, right? Only if you have those high end labeled nutrition things, nutritional things, only you get nutrition from that. As a name.
That's really nice, ma'am. All those myths and facts, and I think these were all the common things that usually goes inside everyone's mind. That ye karna, and everything. So it was really nice having you on our show, ma'am. Thank you so much for all the insights, all those knowledge sharing things that you told us, told all the viewers who are watching us. Thank you so much for sparing those, having this beautiful time with you.
Thank you so much. It's my feeling and I'm happy to do it. So thank you so much for having me over. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are looking forward to have more such conversations with you. So I thank all my viewers who have come up and watching us. So stay tuned, stay connected to Janitri's platform. We will be coming up with more such live sessions. So we are coming to the end of this show. Thank you so much, Ria, ma'am.
The most welcome. My pleasure.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.